Dee. Alright, I think we're almost ready. Hi guys, how's it going? I'm just doing the final checks. So we need the YouTube chat over here, and then put that there, and then I can put the link into the chat. How's it going, Momo Hussein? And I saw Mio pop in earlier as well. Nice to see you guys. Hope you're having a nice weekend. Did you do anything nice so far? I went outside to into Tokyo and it was way too crowded, like people everywhere. But you know, everybody wants to go outside and enjoy the sun because it was pretty nice weather today. Yeah, like not many clouds, nice clear blue sky. It was very relaxing. So many people wanting to go outside, including myself. But yeah, anyway, sorry. Let me just quickly check a few things. So I'll put the YouTube link into here and then pin, so that if you are, what do you call it? If you run out of time on the HelloTalk app, you can just go to the YouTube side and continue watching the lesson from there. Today it should be about maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on how much I, talk between the kind of questions. I have a bad habit of talking a little bit too much during the live stream, but yeah. Nice to see you. Hi Noriko, hi Momo. Thank you for coming, and hope you're having a nice day. So yeah, I think we'll get started very soon. Yeah, so... Oh, I'm so sleepy. But there you go. I had a lot of lessons this morning. I think I had 8 lessons this morning from 6:30 to 10:30. And I did take a short nap. But sometimes you take a nap and then when you wake up, you feel maybe a bit more tired than before you took the nap, right? So I think that just means my nap was too long. So be careful. Don't sleep more than maybe 20 minutes when taking a nap, otherwise you get more sleepy. So there we go. By the way, can you all hear me? Yeah? All good? Well, I guess you can hear me, otherwise you would have said something by now. Alright, so yeah, I think we can get ready soon. Hussein, I am living in Japan right now, but I'm from the UK. So that's why I have this strange accent. But there we go. Okay, so I think we can get ready for the lesson. Let's have this over here. Today we're gonna be looking at the psychology of shopping, a very interesting topic. Let me just do some final preparations before we start. So I'll put this over here. How did I do this before? Yes, I think it was something like this. Okay, right, I think that's fine. And then I'll just put the YouTube over here. Sorry. Please be patient. I'm still not very familiar with this new PC, so... Okay, right. I think it's working, so we got both me, got the screen, got the chat. Hi Zia, nice to see you. And I've got the YouTube on that side as well, checking. So 1, 2, 3. Good. I am very white. The light, sometimes I look very yellow, sometimes I look orange, sometimes I look like a super white. I think it's something to do with the camera or maybe the angle, but it's okay if I'm white today, that's fine. Okay, so why don't we begin today shopping psychology and these secret tricks that people or companies use to take your money. That's right, these big companies, with loads of money, they take your money by using these special tricks and techniques. And if you're interested in marketing and advertising, then it might be quite useful for you to know. But today we'll look at some interesting things that maybe you don't realize in your everyday life. Okay, so why don't we begin with a quick warm-up exercise. Let's have a look. I want you to guess the logo. Now, I've just realized that because most of my private students are Japanese, I've used a lot of Japanese brands. So some of these might be a bit difficult because they might not be popular or they might not even exist in your country. So I apologize if you don't recognize some of these, but this is the first one. We have a very famous one. I believe it's in Australia, in the UK, big in Japan. It is a Japanese brand, I believe. But what is this brand? I've zoomed in and I've removed the color. Yeah. So I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And this one is Uniqlo, a very famous Japanese clothing brand. They sell, well, I think this shirt actually, maybe this sweater jacket thing is also from Uniqlo. Maybe? Actually, maybe this is GU. I can't remember. I don't buy clothes very often. But yeah, Uniqlo, a nice clothing brand. Now, what is this? Ooh, this is definitely a global brand. I don't know if it's in every country, but I'll give you a clue. This brand sells something sweet. Something sweet. I believe it's an American brand. Yeah, I'll give you a few seconds. Okay. The next hint is they sell donuts. They sell donuts. Something donuts. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the Krispy Kreme donuts brand. Yeah, they sell a lot of like glazed donuts which have like a sugar icing on the outside, and it's very unhealthy. It's very bad for you, but it's just sugar. It's just a donut. It just tastes nice, yeah. Yeah, these days I'm starting to become a bit more of an adult. You know, I used to love sweet things, and I still do. Earlier, I had a sweet potato milkshake latte type thing, because right now in Japan, sweet potatoes are in season. It's an autumn. I was going to say fruit. It's a vegetable. But it's super nice. It's nice and sweet. But these days, I'm becoming a bit more adult, you know, bitter coffee and things like that. I still need milk, though. I'm not a complete adult yet. But anyway, Krispy Kreme donuts. This one. Some people will get this very quickly, and some people will not know. This is one of the most famous brands in the world. Yeah. In Japan, there are almost as many of these stores as convenience stores. Yeah. So, okay, any idea? So, 3, 2, 1. It is Starbucks. Yes, the famous lady with the long hair. We have one of the most famous coffee brands in the world, Starbucks. Yeah. Are you a big fan of Starbucks? I'll be very honest. I like it. You know, it's nice. They have some unique drinks, but it's usually very crowded, and I don't like crowded places. So, but that's not a problem with the brand. It's, you know, the brand is good. You know, that's why it's popular. But I do feel that some of their drinks are a bit overpriced. But there you go. You know, because it's popular, they can charge these high prices, right? Starbucks. But okay. Right, next one. Starbucks is very good, isn't it, Noriko? And Momo, wavy hair, good word. Alright. This one. If you're a fan, you will probably know this you will recognize this very quickly. Okay. Good guess, Momo. It is not Red Bull. Red Bull, I think, is like blue, silver with red writing, I think it is. This one, I'll give you a clue. It's a chocolate brand, and they usually sell these kind of like round truffles. Yeah, round truffles. I believe it's a Swiss brand. Is it Swiss, maybe? It's not related to China, but I can see why you think that. Red, you know, the bright red, often connected to China. So, very good. So 3, 2, 1. Noriko, you got it right. Spot on. It is Lindt. L-I-N-D-T. Okay, Lindt. I think it's a Swiss chocolate brand. Ah, Ferro. Nice try, Z. I think you're thinking about Ferrero Rocher or something like that, which is also very famous. Okay. Now, the next one is actually a bit too easy. I did this with a lot of my students, and it was a bit too easy. So, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, right, let's have a look. So, ooh, wrong one. Wait a minute. I think this is the wrong screen. Wait, 1 second. Oh, I think I just showed you the answer. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And the answer is... Oops, sorry. It is Adidas. Very well done. Zia, how can I get it just by 2 lines? Hey, you'll be surprised. A lot of my students, you know, got it from just the 2 lines, right? It's, I think it's the combination of the 2 lines and this, like, small part here. But, yeah, people are very good at recognizing, like, famous logos. Anyway, let me quickly change something because I just realized that it's not full screen. So let me just... Where is the... Actually, no, it is right. Sorry, I'm going crazy. Okay, right. So the next one, let's have a look. Hello. Here we go. This one I think might be a Japanese only brand. Might be a Japanese only brand. It sells stationery, and you've probably seen this in Shibuya. 3, 2, 1. It is. Noriko is pretty spot on. Noriko, do you do a lot of shopping? Loft is a nice store. And this next one is actually another Japanese brand, so I'll go through it quickly just because not everybody knows this one. This one. Got it? 5. Oh, Momo, you know Loft? Interesting. Is it in India as well? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This one is Tokyu Hands. They recently did a rebranding, and interestingly, if you know Japanese, the reason for this logo is, if you know Japanese kanji, we have 1, 2, 3, and then boop, 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 boop. I apologize, my kanji writing with a mouse is terrible, but it's quite similar to the kanji or the Chinese character, the Japanese character for hand. Yeah, they sell a lot of stationery, so there you go. Interesting. Okay, so next one. This one is another global brand. Well, I think it's global. It's in Japan, UK, America. So I think most countries. Any ideas? It is not McDonald's. Very good. Well done. We got Gotham, Momo, Zia. You all got it right. It is indeed Domino's Pizza. Very good. Okay. All right. Nice. So the next one. This is where I'm going to have a problem. So I'm going to try and play a sound. I always have the problems with sound, and I still don't know how to fix it. So hopefully I'm going to play this on my speaker. Now, this is a brand where if you hear, when you enter the store, again, I'm sorry, I think it's in Japan mainly, but if you hear just the first, or maybe the first 2 notes, you can recognize which place this is. Okay, I'm going to play it. Oh, okay, it did come out. 1 second. Oh, it's playing really shortly. Okay, let's try this one. I don't know why it's playing so quickly. Rubbish. Okay, whatever. So basically, excuse my singing, it's like dun 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 dun. I feel so stupid playing this song. But if you're from Japan, you should know this as the Family Mart song. It's one of those things that you think, oh, I've heard this before. I've definitely heard this before. But sometimes it takes some time to remember which store it is. But that is a convenience store. Okay, and the next one, last one, before we go on to the next section. So this is another famous store with lots of background music. And do you know which store this is? Okay, anybody from Japan? Any idea? this, or if you have been to Japan, maybe you've heard this. Zia, that's a good guess. It does sound like a toy store, doesn't it? Yeah. So this one is actually I think this is outside of Japan too. I think in Malaysia, Hong Kong maybe. But yeah, this one is it is Don Quixote. So, what was it? Yeah, it's one of those songs that, like, when you remove the lyrics, again, it's quite hard to recognize, but anyway. Okay, so let's move on to which would you buy? Everybody is different. Everybody likes to buy, different things. Some people are a big fan of clothes. Me, myself, I like to buy, I don't know, sometimes video games, sometimes books, Japanese books especially. Um, and maybe sometimes, what was it? Have I bought an... like technology, tech, like Bluetooth earphones, because I use a lot of tech these days, especially with my, streaming. I've got this gadget here that is like, I press all the buttons, I've got the microphone, and. But what do you guys like to buy? Now, I'm going to give you a choice of one expensive item. You can choose one thing from the top. For example, a high-grade PC, a luxury bag, a Japanese knife, or a 60-inch TV. Let's start with the top section first. So, please type in the chat, which one would you buy and why? Yeah, which one would you buy and why? For me, I think it would have to be... I want to buy the TV, but I don't know how long I'm going to stay in this apartment, and transporting a big TV like that is gonna be a nightmare. So I think the Japanese knife, a good quality Japanese knife, would be awesome for cooking. It's not very big, not heavy, and it lasts you many years as long as you take care of it and sharpen it. So I think a good Japanese knife, yeah. If I didn't buy a new PC recently, I would have chosen that. But right now, I would go for the knife. But what would you guys get? Yeah. So Zia says high grade PC. Yeah, interesting. Okay, and why is that? And then Momo has already gone on to the next part. So you would choose earphones. Interesting. Yeah, so we got some Bluetooth earphones. And then you can also choose one more thing. Like, for example, comfy shoes, maybe. Yeah, if you're a big fan of running. Or maybe just for everyday use, right? A good pair of shoes is a really good investment, I would say. Yeah? Okay. And then Zia says, because she's a computer science student, yes, earphones for studying, for, yeah, listening to music. It's just good for many situations, right? Okay. And then Noriko says, a luxury bag, very nice. I feel like wearing a luxury bag, especially if you're in a touristy place like London or, New York, I feel like it's a bit dangerous, no? I would be so worried that somebody might try to steal it because, it's clearly, luxury. So, but then if you don't wear it outside or use it outside, when will you use it? So, yeah, I think the luxury bag's nice. I would be worried about somebody taking it, though. But, yeah, okay. So, and then moving on to the bottom side, maybe some of you are a big fan of coffee. Yeah, using the beans, grinding the beans and pouring it and things like that. Or maybe you want a book stand for all of those books that you've bought but you haven't finished reading yet. Yeah, I'm very bad with that. In Japanese, they say tsundoku, which means basically to buy books and leave them unread, right? And it's like people often buy more books even though they haven't finished reading all of their other books. So we call this tsundoku. But there you go. U2's, yeah, very nice. Okay, right, let's move on to the next one. Let's have a look at a quick brand challenge. Okay, so let me explain the rules. I'm going to give you a category. Let's say, for example, it's not shopping, but fruits. Okay, I'll give you a number, for example, 2 or 3. And then I will give you about 10 seconds to give me as many names or brands that fit the category. Yeah. So, for example, if I choose what's a good category, if I say fruits, then I would say 3, 2, 1, fruits, and then you would say apple, banana, orange, something like that. Yeah. But of course, we will be doing it with store brands, okay, like Uniqlo, Adidas, and so on, okay? So, you don't have to type your answers because you will not type it fast in just 10 seconds. So just say it out loud, okay? So, are we all ready? So, the first one, ready? So I'll give you 10 seconds. Just say it out loud. 3, 2, 1. Convenience stores. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so what did you guys get? Yeah, for me, I would just thinking now, in Japan, of course, every country's different, but I would say maybe Family Mart, 7-Eleven, Lawson, those are the 3 major ones in Japan, right? But at 7-Eleven, yep, in other countries as well, definitely. If I'm thinking about the UK, Tesco Express, Sainsbury's, not Walmart. Walmart is a supermarket, I think. But Costco is also a huge supermarket. So, yeah, something like that. Okay? All right, Mini Stop is a good one. Noriko, well done. All right, so the next one. Are you ready? So, can you think of 2, 3, 2, 1, sports clothing? 3, 2, 1. All right. So, what did you guys get? Sports clothing. I think Adidas, Nike, New Balance. Wait, is New Balance sporting? I think it is because if I remember correctly, Shohei Ohtani, the famous Japanese baseball player, he signed a contract like to do a lot of advertising with New Balance. So I think they're a sports clothing store. Puma is another one. But Sports Authority, I haven't heard of that. Interesting. What do you call Nike, Adidas, Puma, very good. Yeah, those are the famous ones. Okay, nice, good job. Right, next one. This time you need 3. I just realized this might just be Japan. But anyway, let's do 3 family restaurants or restaurants. 3, 2, 1. Okie dokie. Right. I'm really impressed that some of you are even typing the answers so quickly. Well done. So, yeah, Denny's, Caesarea, definitely. Yeah, I went to Caesarea earlier today. What else? We have Bikkuri Donkey dakke? Something donkey. And then what else? Restaurants in the UK. Do KFC and McDonald's count as restaurants? Nah, not family restaurants, but yeah. Anyway, Bikkuri Donkey. Yeah, most of the restaurants are the same for everyone. Oh, interesting. Okay, there you go. All right, nice. So, the next one. This one, I want you to name 3, for example, Starbucks, 3 cafes, or coffee chains. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Got it? So, what did you guys get? I got Excelsior Cafe. I already said Starbucks. Dotor, and I actually can't think of another one. What was the other one? Not specific to Farrant, that's okay. Yeah. But I can't think of another cafe. Oh, there are so many. Um, no, I can't think of any. Jeez. Do independent stores count? I don't know, whatever. But anyway. Okay, right. So let's do one more. Last one. Yeah, there are so many. Yeah, it's hard to remember when there are so many, right? Okay. So, the last one. Bakeries. Oh, this one's difficult. Okay, yeah. So, it's interesting because some, what was it, convenience stores, not convenience stores, supermarkets have like a bakery inside, right? Um, in Japan, I can only think of V de la France or something like that. Something something France. And then, wait, Donkey? Really? And then La Delice. Yeah, I think most bakeries are like French or related to France in some way, right? Interesting. Anderson. I haven't heard of that Noricom. Interesting. Okay. But yeah, bakeries. Very nice. Okay. So let's move on to. Why is this camera button on? Okay. Let's go on to a quick question. What do you guys see here? Yeah. Now, just because of time, I won't spend too long on this, but question. Do you prefer shopping online or in store? Which do you prefer? What does that sound? Sorry, I heard a sound and I wasn't sure where it was coming from. So, shopping online or in store, it's a classic debate. Personally, when it comes to clothes or anything where you want to touch or feel the material, like maybe I don't know, when I moved into this apartment, I had to buy some new pillows, a blanket, and things like that. Of course, you want to check how it feels. You want to try it in real life, right? So in those cases, going in store is a must. But shopping online is so convenient nowadays, especially if you're searching for a specific item, right? Like, sometimes you're searching for something very specific. Like, I don't know, it could be tooth floss, like something like this. It could be a hair clip, or it could be a lip balm, or something like that. And if you type these items into Amazon or Google, super easy, right? But if you go to the store, you have to, well, you have to go to the store and then you have to walk around all the different aisles, and then sometimes you don't know where it is, and then you have to talk to the staff and say, "Sumimasen," and then you ask them where the thing is, and you know, it's a big pain in the neck. But sometimes I just like to go window shopping. Sometimes I like to just walk around, look at the different things. But the downside is that sometimes, even if I don't need anything, especially in the supermarket, I might see like a nice bag of crisps in the UK, we call it, or potato chips. And I might think, ooh, I do love seaweed crisps. Maybe I'll get some. Yeah, you buy things that you don't plan to at first, and it's not a waste of money. Well, usually, actually, yes, it is a waste of money usually. But yeah, I think that's the problem with in store. You look at too many things. But there you go. So yeah, and then Momo says it's a hard question. Depends on the things. Online's convenient, but shopping in store is better. You get to see the quality of the product. Very good point, Zia. Good point. Noriko, same as me for cloths and shoes in store. Definitely shoes, especially, right? Because you want to get a shoe that has a really nice fit, right? Because even with different types of shoes, like sneakers, trainers, formal shoes, a size 8, even if it's the same size, it might feel different depending on the shoe, right? For example, if you're buying sports shoes, you're going to be moving a lot more, right? Running and things like that. So maybe you want it to be a little bit bigger so that you can move around more easily. But, you know, it depends, right? Oh, very good. Zia, fish and chips. What about fish and chips? And then, from Russia, poo-poo. What is poo-poo? Interesting. Okay. All right. Good job, guys. Thank you for the comments. Now, what's happening here? Whoa. What is this? What is going on? Yeah, this is a very unique way of shopping. It's not very normal yet, but maybe in the future. What's that? Yeah. So this is very good, Zia. VR shopping. Yeah. What do you think about VR shopping? I think VR shopping is probably something between shopping in store and shopping online, right? Because sometimes you want to check, or for example, especially if you're buying something like in liquid form, right? For example, cleaning products, and it says 500 milliliters. Now, it's not always easy to imagine how much is 500 milliliters? How big is the bottle and things like that, right? Because just looking at images online, it's not always so easy to get a sense of the size, right? So maybe if it's something like this, if the models are very, similar to real life, then it could be a way of checking the size. And I was thinking this would be really good for furniture, right? You know, the old days where we always measure, right? When you're buying furniture, you have to measure the space, and then you have to measure the item, and then you check, does it fit? VR would be really good for this, to check if the sofa or the chair fits in your living room or something like that. I think that would be very cool. But yeah. So VR is still fake. That's true. It is still fake. But yeah, maybe a mix. AR might also be a good choice. But anyway, all right. So moving on, let's jump into the main topic here. So first of all, what do you see here? Okay. Now, what do we call a collection of flowers? What do we call not just one flower, but a group of flowers? Very good. Well done. Zia, Yulia, nice to see you. Great job. It is called a bouquet or a bouquet. Which one is it? Bouquet? Bouquet? I say bouquet, but bouquet is also natural, so both are okay. Yeah. So this is a wedding bouquet. Now, how much do you think a wedding bouquet costs? Maybe in dollars, or in yen, or in pounds, wherever you're from. Let's go with dollars, because it's the easiest, I think. Yeah. Guesses? $100, that's a good guess, Noriko. Nice. $100, that's pretty close, pretty close. Yeah. Anybody else want to go higher, lower? Anybody want to gamble some money? Right. So, on average, a wedding bouquet costs about $150. $45. It's not cheap, right? Anything related to weddings is not cheap, right? Just booking the venue, the food, you've got the dress, you got to hire the professionals like photographer. All of it is expensive, and even the wedding bouquet, because as you may know, in I think not so much in Asia, but in Western weddings in the UK and America, I believe, um, there's a tradition where you have the wedding bouquet and the bride will throw it behind her, and all of the friends, the family, and the I think it's just girls, I think, they all kind of fight, not as in like punching each other, but they compete to try and catch the bouquet. And there's a superstition that if you catch the bouquet, you will be getting married next very soon, or something like that. So there are some very funny videos where one of the women will catch the bouquet, right? And then they will turn around to look at their boyfriend. Remember, catching the bouquet means that you're going to get married very soon. That's the superstition. And so when the boyfriend sees the girlfriend catch the bouquet, they just run away. They're like, nope, I'm not ready to get married. See you later. Bye. And then they just run off, and it's quite funny. And then the girlfriend runs after saying, get back here, come back here. But yeah, anyway, it's true, Noriko. Wedding things do make people go crazy. It's a very profitable business, but there you go. I guess it's because a wedding is like a once in a lifetime event, so you want it to be special, and people are happier to pay more money for some special event like this, right? Because especially like things, the photos, you only have one chance, right? So that's interesting. And then small things cost so much, yeah. In India, a simple wedding costs about $250,000. Really? Wait, is that $1 million? That is crazy. Yeah. But anyway, let's have a look at this keyword here. We have the word markup. Okay. Now this will be useful later, but looking at this diagram, okay, so we have the price of buying the flowers, right? Just the normal flowers from, a farm or wherever they grow them. And then you have the selling price, which is $180. In the store, we as the customer, we have to buy the flowers, $180. This is the markup. 300%, yeah? So $45 times 3 equals 135. So this is the markup. So in other words, the markup is the increase in price before selling something again, right? Now, especially if you're kind of buying imported goods, right? Let's say you're in India or in Japan and you really want to buy some British or American chocolate, right? But you can't buy it here. So you have to go to a special store to buy these imported goods, right? Now, if the store buys the chocolate from America, UK, wherever, and they sell it at the same price, they won't make any money, right? So they need a certain amount of markup, right? Especially because they're paying for things like, well, transport, handling fees, shipping fees, and all of that stuff. So the markup is how they make a profit, okay? Now, let's have a look at this picture. What do you see here? There's this woman, the customer on the right, interested in buying this necklace. Yeah. Now, she doesn't know that the original price is $1,000, right? But the price tag is up here, $1,500. And she thinks, oh, it's a nice necklace. Sounds good. But sometimes something is not worth the price. In other words, it's more expensive than it should be. The markup is too high, right? You know, this woman or this company, the necklace, it's just a necklace. They haven't made the necklace. They bought the necklace from someone else and they're just selling it again. There's no, skill or extra work, for making selling the jewelry. It's already made, right? So some people might think, why is the markup so high? Sometimes we call these things that are too expensive, not worth the price. Oops, sorry. We would call this a rip-off. Yeah. Something that is not a good price. For example, after I bought the necklace, I found it online for half the price that I paid in store. So imagine you bought a really nice, necklace or watch for $1,000. That is really expensive. But let's say you bought it for $1,000 and then you're, shopping on Amazon a few days later and then you see, wait a minute, it's the same watch. And it's $500. I bought this for $1,000, and then it's the same quality, it's the same, so you think, what? The store sold it to me for double the price. It was a rip-off, yeah? So you're not gonna be happy. The necklace was a huge rip-off, or you can use it as a verb. I was ripped off. Yeah, I was ripped off. Okay. You got to be really careful in these kind of what was it? In certain countries, Hong Kong is one example. What was it? If you go to these markets where it's not like not a real store, it's like there are these stalls that are run by individuals, right? Just normal people, right? And they can set the price. Now, often at these markets where there are not so many rules, and especially where you do a lot of what we call, what's the word? Bargaining? Is it bargaining? Where you can kind of negotiate the price, right? So it's like, come on, I'm a good customer. I've been with you for a long time. Can you make it a bit cheaper? Where you can negotiate the price. Often the managers of the store, they will often try to rip you off, especially with goods that are not real or not authentic. We call them counterfeit goods. Yeah, so you gotta be careful in these unofficial markets. It's easy to get ripped off. Okay, all right, now let's move on. Let me just quickly read the comments. And do I have an MBA degree? I do not. I know nothing about business. This is just from a little bit of internet research from my own experience, so please take this with a grain of salt. Yeah. It does happen in online shopping. Yeah, it happens in many businesses. When you see a product online, you think it's fine, but when you order it, it's low quality. That does happen a lot. Yeah. Often the product can be a little different to the images, and especially nowadays with AI, it happens even more. Yeah, but very good. Okay, so let's move on. What products do you think are rip-offs? What kind of things do you think are just more expensive than they should be, right? Maybe you could say wedding bouquets. Do you think they are a big rip-off? Are they worth the price? Or do you think it's too expensive? For me, one thing that I think is a rip-off is designer bags, right? Louis Vuitton, Gucci. Like the material. I know it's the brand, and I know you're paying, but what was it? I believe it's the same material. It's like leather, and it's high quality leather, but I feel like people are just buying the symbol, right? To show people, hey, I've got a Louis Vuitton bag, I'm rich, or something like that. Now, not everyone is buying it just to show off. There are definitely people who do like the design, and I have no problem with that. But this is just me, I'm a practical person, so like, um, I just look at the materials, like, is it useful, right? But I can understand some people just want to support the brand or they like the brand. So, but I feel like some bags are a big ripoff. But yeah, some of these like designer bags are actually very good. I've heard, lots of. I don't have one, so it's hard for me to say. But anyway, um, but if you have the money and you like the product, then yeah, buy it. Why not? If it makes you happy, it doesn't matter if it's a ripoff. Okay, now let's have a look at products with the highest markups. Okay, now there are some products in our everyday lives that are so cheap to make or are so easy to prepare or cook or whatever, but they sell it for a crazy high price. And the even crazier thing is, we're happy to buy it, right? If people didn't buy a product, they would stop selling it very quickly, right? So these are some of the products with the highest markups, but some of the cheapest, materials. Okay. The first one is something that we all know and love, regular black coffee. Yeah. Just simple beans. Yeah. Of course, some coffee shops have higher quality beans, but grinding the beans, just the hot water, the cost of the materials are very cheap. However, you do need the equipment, the coffee machine and the grinder and the maybe some special water, I don't know. But it's also like, the skill of the barista, the knowledge, the experience to make a good cup of coffee. All of that is also included in the price as well. So it's not really just the coffee beans, yeah? But coffee, 300% markup, yeah? Okay. Now, carbonated drinks. Now, this is crazy, yeah? If you've ever been to McDonald's or any fast food place and you just buy, a soda, a carbonated drink, Coca-Cola, Fanta, Sprite, all of these things, sometimes it can cost maybe, what, $3? $2 to $3. But if you think about the ingredients, it's just water, syrup, sugar. It's usually a dark liquid. It's what was it? You mix the syrup with the water, and then, of course, because it's a carbonated drink, it's got gas inside. That's why it's got that nice kind of fizzy, carbonated feeling. So it's just those three things. It's the syrup, sugar, the water, and the CO2. That's super cheap, right? Especially because the syrup, you only need, like, I think probably like this much of the cup, like maybe 10-20% of the drink is actually the syrup or the special ingredient. So carbonated drinks, they're about 1,150% markup. Yeah, so very profitable, super easy, but lots of people buy it. Yeah, but yes, a person starts a new brand, starting quality is good, but when they get in the market, they start reducing quality and raising cost. That's a very good point. Yeah, wow, Zia knows a lot about business, but yeah, carbonated drinks are not healthy. That's right, but most things that we enjoy are probably not healthy, but they taste good, and that's why we tend to buy it, right? For example, crisps. Okay, the next one. Oh, before I go on to the next one, I'll give you a hint. This next item is something that you can get at the movie theaters, at the cinema, and you often buy it with a carbonated drink like Coke. This has one of the biggest markups, and when you think about it, it's crazy, right? Very good. Yulia and Carol, you already got it. It is indeed popcorn. Popcorn is a rip-off, okay? I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the President of the United States or the Emperor of Japan. Popcorn is a rip-off, right? It's just, how much does it cost to buy the corn kernels, the small bits? You just add a bit of butter, a bit of oil, job done, super easy, less than $1 maybe. But in the movie theaters, in the cinema, they sell you popcorn for like $6, $7, and with the drink it comes up to $10, $11. It's like as expensive as the movie ticket, and that's a rip-off. Come on, like, pfft. But the problem is, when you go to the cinema and you sit down for 2 hours, some movies are like 3 hours nowadays, you want something to drink. You want a snack to eat, right? You want something, because it's a long time sitting down. Now, if you're at home, it's super easy, right? Before you watch the movie, you go to the supermarket, you buy a few snacks, and you can get many snacks, a lot of food, for under, I don't know, $5, $6 or something. But in the cinema, you're not allowed to bring your own snacks, of course, and that's partly because they want you to buy this rip-off popcorn and the drinks, right? And have you noticed the popcorn and drinks are always huge? Like, how many of you have actually finished the big or medium-sized popcorn, right? Because for me, I don't think I've ever finished all of the popcorn, right? It's just too much. We don't need that much, but, there's only certain sizes. Well, anyway. Also, I hate it when you get, like, popcorn between your teeth, right? Because sometimes when you get the popcorn between your teeth, you can't focus on the movie. You're kind of like, I want to take it out, but I don't have a toothpick, so it's like, but yeah. So, what was it? Let's have a look. So, more expensive, it's too much. It is, right? More, it's a rip-off. And then Zia, we make popcorn from sweet corn at home, which hardly costs anything. Exactly, yeah. Yulia, in movie theaters, drinks are always overpriced, while the same product in a regular store costs much less. That's right, exactly, yeah. It's just marketing, advertising, and they know that everybody almost expects, they just think it's normal to get a drink and popcorn. Sometimes you get it even if you don't feel hungry or thirsty. So it's a bit of like, psychology as well. The cinema gains money from popcorn, not the movie. That's a good point, actually. They do make a lot of money from the food and drink, maybe more than the movie tickets themselves. So yeah, it's also expensive at the amusement park. Noriko, you are absolutely right. Disneyland is a rip-off, right? Like, in Disneyland, you have these fast pass things where it's like you can pay for a fast pass thing, so it means you can go in the fast line. Now, I've been to Disneyland maybe once or twice in my life, and I thought it was okay. It was fine. I like Disney. But the idea of spending a lot of money to go to the amusement park, and then spending even more so that you don't have to wait 2 or 3 hours just to go on one ride, that is crazy to me. Like, that is so greedy. And the problem is, people buy these fast passes. People love Disney. And because so many children these days, especially in Japan as well, they are crazy about Disney. The parents and the family, they are happy to spend a lot of money on these fast passes and the regular tickets and all of these foods, right? Because especially the children, they want to try something. They don't know it's a rip-off. They don't care it's a rip-off. They just want to eat something. And I think that's fine. You know, it's a rip-off, but once in a while is okay, right? It's just one day, right? You don't want to be like me. You don't want to be super stingy and say like, if I buy 2 tomatoes, then maybe I shouldn't buy that coffee tomorrow or something. Don't be so stingy where you just can't enjoy life, right? You need a balance of being smart with your money, but also just enjoy the moment, just enjoy life. Don't be too stingy like me. That was a good point, Noriko. Yeah, amusement parks, big ripoff. Carol, depending on the country, popcorn can be salty or sweet. That's true. I think most countries have salty or sweet. But in Japan, I found a special flavor, but actually, it's not a common flavor. I think it was a limited time thing. But it was one of the best flavors I've ever had. It was popcorn that was covered in cold, like matcha green chocolate, right? So imagine, I'm sure many of you, especially if you've been to Japan, you've tried matcha chocolate, right? But it was like popcorn that was dipped in matcha chocolate. Then they freeze it or they put it in the fridge. So it becomes this like cold, chocolatey, salty popcorn. It's like, oh, it was amazing. Anyway, sorry. Okay. But, trick. Buy once at the cinema, save the container, and bring the popcorn from home. Fill the container and say you bought it outside. Wait. But how are you going to get the popcorn into the container, right? You still have to ask the staff, right? So, interesting. Okay. Yulia says things at the airport are always overpriced too. True. Right, even without the tax. And then we're willing to pay for the experience of going to Disneyland. Yeah, true, Mio. That's right. Right. I think most amusement parks are very expensive. But anyway, let's move on because we're running out of time. The next one, interestingly, is brand name drugs. So, I'm going to teach you something maybe quite useful in your everyday life. When you buy drugs, you will often see 2 types of drugs. You will see brand name drugs and generic drugs. Now, generally, brand name drugs have like bright colors, they have large letters, they look like very attractive and very cool, right? Generic drugs are very simple. The packaging, the wording, the font, it all looks the same. These are generic drugs versus brand name drugs. And the important thing to realize here, now you see here it says anywhere between 200 to 3,000%. Okay, so it does depend on the type of drug, but it also depends on the brand. Okay, but here is the interesting thing. If we look at the difference between generic drugs and brand drugs, when it comes to strength or quality, there's actually no difference, right? So in other words, to put it another way, if you buy, like let's say you have a cold, a flu, or a headache, any of these things, and you buy the generic version and the brand version, the ingredients are the same, or almost the same, right? And the effect is also the same, right? But the price is different. Usually the brand name drugs, the companies that spend a lot of money on marketing, advertising, and, packaging, making it look very nice, makes it cost more. But the generic ones are a lot cheaper. And at the end of the day, if you want to get better, we buy medicine for the effect. We don't buy it because it looks pretty. We don't. I don't know anybody who has bought, some medicine and then thought, wow, this box looks amazing. I'm going to put it on my shelf. If you want the box, buy the brand name drugs. That's okay. But if you're only interested in just getting better, then in most cases, the generic brand drugs, they will be cheaper and the same effect. Okay, so that is a small tip for you, generic drugs. Okay, all right. Now, let's have a look. Next thing, classic. When you think about it, it makes sense, right? Water from your tap. Well, depending on your country, in some countries it's not safe to drink water straight from the tap. But, get some water, filter it. It doesn't cost a lot of money to get water, depending on the country as well. But in most countries, if you're living in a first world country, we are very lucky to have access to easy, clean water. But when you're outside and you're in the city and you're feeling a bit thirsty, if you go to the convenience store or from a vending machine, water costs a lot compared to getting it almost for free at home. So bottled water is a huge markup. It's about 4,000%. Yeah, so pretty crazy, but very good. Okay, and actually, the product, or maybe the service with the highest markup ever, okay, I was really surprised by this. I did not expect this item. Actually, it's not a physical item. This thing has the highest markup, even more than bottled water. And that is text messages. 6,000%. Now, I'm not talking about the normal SIM cards where you buy a plan and you get unlimited data for 1 month or whatever. There are some plans where, especially for the older generation who don't really know which SIM card to buy, and also when you go abroad, sometimes there will be an option to text or send messages or call numbers in a different country. But sending text messages one by one, if you don't have a special plan, can cost maybe, I think it's 20 cents for a text message, right? But it's data. It costs nothing to send a text message. It costs maybe 0.00002 cents to send one text message, right? So actually, text messages are some of the craziest things with the highest markup again. Okay? Yeah, pretty crazy, right? But there we go. So if you don't have a special plan, don't send a text message. But actually, nowadays, most people just use apps like Instagram, WhatsApp, WeChat, KakaoTalk, Line, depending on which country. And you just use internet data to send messages. So that's a bit different. But okay. Right, we have 1 hour left. Let's move on. Let's do a fun activity. Can you build the perfect store? Now, with my private students, I've been doing more I wanted to give my students more of an active role instead of just speaking. I want them to do things, but unfortunately in the live stream I can't give you control of my screen. So I'm going to move this. So sorry, 1 second. Let's discard notes here. I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so with my students, we will have to skip this, but I'll give you a few minutes just to look at this. Here is the layout of a, of a convenience store. Okay, we have this lovely little lady here, the cashier, right? The entrance is here in the bottom right. Your job, or with my private students, is to move these items into the correct area. Now, of course, again, every store is a little different, right? But generally, especially in Japan, if you go to most convenience stores, there is a big pattern. Usually, you know, hot food goes here. Usually the drinks go here. And if you go to your local supermarket or convenience store, you might notice that certain things are always in certain places, right? This thing is in the back, this is in the front, right? So let's have a look at this and see if there's maybe some similarities for different countries, okay? So we have hot food here, okay? So hot food, where do you think hot food goes? Does it go in the middle, in the center? Does it go in the top? Bottom, maybe bottom left, or top right. I will give you guys a chance to, what was it? By the way, can you guys see my screen? Yeah, can you see it? So maybe you guys can share some comments. Where do you want me to put this item? So hot food, where does it go? Oh, you can see it. Thank you, Yulia. Yeah. So where should I put the hot food? Where do you think it goes? Top left? Top right? Bottom? Bottom? Alright, let's put it in the bottom. I'll go with Yulia, as she was the first one to answer. What about batteries and tapes? Do you think maybe in the center? At the top? On the left? Anybody? If no one answers, I'm going... On the left? Thank you very much, Zia. Okay, and then cold beverages, alcohol, and things like that. Who's next? Cold beverages and alcohol. We probably want somewhere at the top, Zia. Sounds good. And then magazines and newspapers. Magazines and newspapers. Where should we put them? Should it be near the entrance? Or should it be next to the cashier? Maybe Momo says the top left. Okay, let's have a look. And then what about ice cream? Ice cream. Yeah, usually we want, you know, a big freezer for the ice cream, right? Maybe in the bottom left? Top right? Any ideas? Yeah. I'm going to put it, let's put it here for now, just a random place. Yeah. What about the toilet? Any ideas? Toilet in the bottom left? I can't remember. I don't know if she's talking about the toilet, but we'll put it in the bottom left. Above the girl, the toilet, right next to the girl? Really? I mean, it might be. Let's go bottom left for now. And then what about lunch boxes? So like ready-made meals. Yeah. Rice balls, sandwiches, and dairy products like milk. Where does this go? Center? Top right? Middle? Shall we go here? Yeah. Okay, right. I'm gonna move all of these into some random places, and then we'll have a look. Bread and snacks. Okay, right, let's move on. So here is a huge mess of things. Now, of course, everybody has different opinions, but let's have a look at the ideal store layout for most, at least Japanese, convenience stores. 3, 2, 1. Okay, we were completely off. So, I'll show you one more time. This was our answer. And this was the correct answer. So, if you were all managers of a convenience store, I would kick you out right now. You're fired, you're fired, you're fired, get out. No, I'm joking, of course. So, usually in Japan, you have the hot food and the hot beverages next to the cashier. Usually because the cashier will usually make the food fresh, right? Or they don't want the food to be, how do I say it, left outside or in the box for too long, because then it becomes not so crispy. A lot of fried foods, right? But the kitchen or the place where they make the food is usually in the back, behind the cashier. If I show you, it's usually somewhere around here, right? So, of course, it's a lot easier to access the hot food box if it's next to the kitchen, right? So that's why they have the hot food here. And there are probably many other reasons why they put these things here, but I won't talk about that now, okay? But we will move on. So that was the ideal store layout, okay? Now, what is the goal of every supermarket? Yeah, if you are the manager, sorry, 1 second. So, if you're the manager of a supermarket, or actually most businesses, your goal of your business is to make the customer spend as much time and money in the supermarket as possible, right? Because customers, more time in the store, more money, right? Again, we talked a bit about this earlier. When you go to the store, like in person, not online, when you stay there and you walk around and you look and you think, oh, there's some nice crisps there. Ooh, I feel like eating some crisps. Or maybe you look at the bread section and you think, oh, that croissant looks delish. And then, the more time you spend in the store, the more money you tend to spend. Yeah. So, your job, you're going to rearrange the words to make a sentence, okay? This is one sentence, but each line is separate, okay? So each line is separate, and all of this makes one sentence, yeah? So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, and then here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's what I mean by it's separate, okay? But all of this makes one sentence, okay? So, rearrange the words, each line separate, and then when you're ready, you can type your answer in the comments below, okay? Let's give you 15 seconds. I'll give you 15 seconds to make the sentence. Okay? Okay. Yeah? Are you guys ready? So, very good. You all are almost correct or spot on. Okay? So the answer is, the more time customers spend in a store, the more they buy. This is a very common English grammar point. The more something, the more something something. Or you could even reverse it. You could say the more something something, the less something something. For example, um, the more my parents tell me to clean my room, the less I want to do it. Yeah, the more my parents tell me to clean my room, the less I want to do it. Or the more, what was it? The more my parents tell me don't do this, the more I want to do it. Right? You know, when somebody says, oh, do not go into that room, they don't tell you why. They say, don't go into that room, okay? There's a secret. Then it makes you want to go into that room more, right? But anyway, yeah, so the more time customers spend in a store, the more they buy. Okay? Nice. Good job. Okay. Now, the more time customers spend in a store, the more they buy. In other words, there is a positive correlation between time spent in a store and number of things bought. Okay, a positive correlation is what we just talked about. It's a link between two things. As A increases, B also increases. When you're talking about data, especially if you are studying like business English or maybe academic English, talking about relationships, graphs, and data, this is a very useful word. Yeah. There is a positive correlation between A and B. The more something something, the more something something. But the opposite would be a negative correlation. In other words, as A increases, B decreases. Okay. Can I think of two things that have a negative correlation? For example, as temperature decreases? Nah, that doesn't make sense. No, I can't think of one right now, but there are many things that have a negative correlation. Okay, so, okay, right. Very good, Momo. Yeah, you could say an inverse correlation as well. Very nice. Good job. Okay, so let's move on. Now, how do stores make you spend more in the shop or supermarket? Yeah. So imagine you're in a store, supermarket, convenience store, anything like that. If you are the manager, what kind of things can you do to make the customers stay, spend more time in the supermarket or something, or just spend more money? There are many small things that we take for granted. We don't realize because they're normal, right? But when you do realize these tricks or small things, then you might be less, how do I say it? You might realize, oh, okay, this is a trick. I shouldn't do this. It's not right. They're trying to get my money. Again, if you want the thing or the product, buy it. But sometimes if you're like on the fence, if you're not sure and you think, no, okay, they're trying to trick me. You can't trick me. And then you might be a bit smarter with your money. But some things. Ooh, very good. Sorry, let me have a look at some of the answers. So, see you, Noriko. Um, Maine says free taste of food. That's a very good answer. There's a special word for this, but very good. I like that idea. Zia, put correlated things near so they buy. Very good. Nice. Yeah, so I didn't put this in the presentation, but you're right. They usually put things that go well together, like eggs, milk, bread, these things that we often need, like every day, right? Exactly. Well done. Okay. And then Julia, things often on sale. That's right, Julia. Sales, right? Discounts and things like that. Julia says, some signs next to products, for example, when a discount is written or something like promotions like 1+1, the third one is free. Very good. Yeah, we call these like deals, like, buy one, get one free, buy two, get one free. Those are definitely some good like marketing tactics. Very good. Um, and then Zia, they also put toys in lower shelves so kids see them. That is a very good one. Well done. Okay. So some of you actually already talked about this, but one of them is we have this woman who's offering some free food. I think Maine was talking about this, but she really shouldn't be eating the food herself. I'm not sure she's going to keep her job for very long, but it's very funny, isn't it? So these are what we call free samples. Okay, free samples. You know, you want to try something before you buy it, right? This is called a free sample. But if it's like a service, like let's say, I don't know, a free English lesson, or maybe like, I don't know, a free class of some sort, this would be called a free trial. Um, Streaming services like Netflix, Amazon Video, they sometimes give you like 1 month free to try the service. This is usually called a free trial. Okay, so remember, item, product, free sample. If it's a service, not a physical thing, then it's usually a free trial. Okay? All right. And the next thing, reduced. It was 170, but now it's 85p. Again, somebody talked about this earlier, but reducing the price, deals and things like that, these are called discounts. Discounts. One thing I love about Japan is that after a certain time, usually like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., they will start to give big discounts, like 40%, 50% sometimes, on cooked food, right? Because it needs to be fresh, and if it's not fresh, they have to throw it away. So selling at half price is better than, nothing, right? So you'll often see all of the people rushing to the supermarket at this time. They'll be like, get out of my way, this like 85-year-old old man moving at the speed of light, and he's like, get out of my way, that's my fish. But anyway, that's probably me in like 30-40 years. I'll be like rushing to the supermarket with my walking stick. I'll be like, get off that fish, it's mine. But of course, no, people don't really do this. But on Black Friday sales, Black Friday in a few weeks at the end of November, people go pretty crazy for Black Friday. So my, exaggerated story isn't 100%, untrue. Okay, but thank you very much. Great comments, and thank you, Zia. You didn't have to gift. I appreciate it, though. Okay, now, anyway. What's this? And how is it related to the question? Yeah. What is this? Oh, sorry. And how is bread connected to making people spend more in a supermarket? When I first read this, I thought, huh? And then I thought about it, and I was like, that's true, right? Good idea, Momo. It's actually not so much about showing the bread. And actually, in most convenience stores, you can't see the bread because it's usually back in the kitchen, in a different room, right? However, you can often smell the bread, right? Have you ever been, like, let's just imagine you're going to the supermarket to just maybe buy some milk, and then suddenly, I love the smell of like a fresh baguette, a fresh croissant, right? You smell it, and then what happens when you smell the fresh bread? you get hungry. And then you want to buy it. Which is why, generally, you shouldn't go to the supermarket on an empty stomach when you're hungry. Because then you're going to be more tempted, you're going to be weaker, and you're more likely to say, I'll just buy a few snacks, maybe one, two, three, maybe a bit of chocolate too, and maybe I need some dessert as well, maybe a bit of ice cream. And generally, the smell of fresh bread, one of the best smells ever, it's going to make you want to buy more, especially food related items, yeah? But if you've just had a big lunch and you go to the supermarket, food smells good, but you're not that hungry, so you think, nah, I'll be okay. I don't need bread. I've got a lot of food at home. I'll be fine. Yeah. So that's right. Yeah. And even crazier, they usually, at least in British supermarkets, they usually put the bread at the back of the supermarket. Okay? At the back. And I'll quickly show you why. But first of all, let's have a look at these things. Now, because of time, I'm going to go through this a bit quickly, but which items do you think people buy the most often, and which items do we buy the least often? Looking at these items, we have rice balls, milk, magazines, shampoo, and so on. Okay? I'll just give you 5 seconds to look and think. Everybody's a bit different, but what do you buy the most? What do you buy the least? Okay, let's have a look. I think most people in most countries would buy bread or milk most. Yeah, because we have them almost every day. Now, rice balls is special to Japan. Maybe chocolate, yeah, quite common. Everybody likes chocolate. Magazines, again, depending on the person. Maybe some people like magazines. Shampoo. I think actually maybe shampoo is higher than magazines. And then batteries. Yeah, nowadays we've got most things we can just charge with our USB cables, things like that. But sometimes we still need batteries for these older devices, remote controllers and things like that. Yeah. Now, some items we use often in our everyday lives. Things like toilet paper, bread, milk, and things like that. Does anyone know, what do we call these items? Anybody? It's actually 2 words. I'll give you a clue. The first word is daily something. Daily something. These are items that we often use in our everyday lives. The things that we need. These are daily necessities. Okay? Or some people say essentials. Essentials. Yeah. Things. Toilet paper. Bread. Eggs. This egg is moving, so you probably shouldn't buy this egg. And then we have milk. Yeah. These are your daily necessities. These are the things at the top of the pyramid. Okay, maybe chocolate is not a daily necessity, but definitely bread and milk. Yeah. Now, when preparing for a disaster in Japan, we get many earthquakes. You just need to think about buying daily necessities. Yeah, things that you will need to have every day. Now, maybe milk is not a good idea, but bottled water, definitely. Yeah, bottled water lasts a long time. Humans cannot survive without water. Okay? Good idea. Mio usually buys daily necessities on the way home after work with an empty stomach. Oh, Mio, you're brave. Gotta be careful, right? So I guess you're good at controlling yourself if you're hungry. Yeah. All right. Good job. So, moving on. Now, going back here to the layout, which section do you think customers visit the most often? Which part of the convenience store do you think people visit the most often? Yeah, where are the daily necessities? It's probably not here at the bottom, right? We don't buy these every day. Batteries and tapes? Probably not. Ice cream? Sometimes. Yeah. The text is too small. I apologize. Yes, sorry. Yeah. So, daily necessities? Probably around here. Right? We have dairy products, milk, we have bread. But, question, why do you think they put daily necessities here in the back? Why? If you think like a manager, or the person who designs all of these things for money, why might they put the most important things at the back, right? Don't they want to make it easier for us as the customer? Zia and Etskol, exactly right. If the milk or the important stuff that everybody wants to buy is at the back, we're gonna go all the way around here. We're gonna take the long way around. Yeah, we pay the money and then we leave. But if it's at the front, very easy to get, we go boop, turn left, grab, and go. Super easy, right? But remember, the supermarkets want us to spend more time in the store, not less, because the more time customers spend in a store, the more they buy, or the more money they spend. So in other words, this, good. Long way around, more time, and they also see more things, right? Especially if you're going to a new store, and as we said earlier, sometimes online shopping is so easy because you type it, you buy it. But when you're in store, you have to search for things, right? We don't always know where these things are, especially in different types of stores, right? The beauty products might be, in one corner in this store, but it might be near the entrance in another store, right? So especially when we're searching for things, we're looking at other products, yeah? And sometimes we want to buy these products that we didn't intend to. So, good, bad. Because sometimes when we're searching for these things, we think, oh, all of this looks good. I needed some cereal. So, these things that we buy, even when we're not looking for them, when we just think, oh, I really think I need this. Yeah, I forgot about it, but I think I want to buy this. These are called impulse buys. Impulse buys. I recently learned this word in Japanese when I talked about it with my Japanese teacher. We would say shodogai, shodogai, I believe. But anyway, impulse buy. Something that you buy without thinking, often while you're searching for something else. Okay? Wow, you bought a lot of clothes. Are you getting ready for winter? Actually, these were all impulse buys. I can't control myself when it comes to fashion. Yeah. I saw this bag, yeah. It was so cute, and I didn't know if I would see it again. I thought maybe I should buy it because I might miss it next time. I might forget about it. Impulse buy. Yeah. Okay, very good. Now we're going to skip through. We only have about 20 minutes, so it's very easy to impulse buy, even online as well. Yeah. Now, when it comes to impulse buying, it's very important to be able to control yourself. You got to say no. Don't add to cart. Don't buy more things. You need the ability to stop yourself from doing things that you really want to do. Yeah. Being an adult is often about controlling our desires. Of course, I want ice cream. Of course, I want to eat pizza every day. But I need to stop myself from doing these things. Now, children are not very good at doing this, yeah? But adults, you need some, what do we call this? The ability to stop yourself. Yeah? 2 words. 3, 2, 1. Self-control. Everybody needs some self-control. If nobody had self-control, this world would be chaos, right? Crime everywhere, stealing, killing. Like, we need to control ourselves. We need to be careful and not, hurt other people. This is all self-control. Yeah. Now, what about you guys? Do you have good self-control? It depends on the thing. There are many different types of things that we have to think about, right? Could be something like food. It could be something like work. Now, you might be a bit confused. You might think, huh? Nobody wants to do work. But actually, some people, perfectionists, people who want to be perfect, they can't control themselves. And they always think, okay, no, I need to make this tiny detail a bit better. Or I need to do this and that. And like when I'm making these presentations, sometimes I think about the font and the colors too much. But for me, it's important, but the content. Is the lesson interesting? Are there useful words and vocabulary? Sometimes I can't control myself when it comes to the less important things because I'm a perfectionist sometimes. YouTube. Oh, this is a huge problem for most people. Can you control yourself on YouTube? Like, sometimes it's embarrassing. But when you go to Instagram or YouTube, you have these like short videos, right? So if I give you an example, so something like this. So blah, blah, blah. Is it that one? No. Do you swipe left or right? Oh, there you go. So I can swipe up and just keep watching, very easy, blah, blah, blah. And it's so easy to waste like 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? So I put a setting where after 5 or 10 minutes, it stops you. And it says, okay, you've been watching for 10 minutes. Do you want to continue? And sometimes that's enough. I'm like, oh, okay, I need to control myself. I need some self-control. Okay, let's go to bed. Yeah. But it's very difficult. Not good, not good. So YouTube is a big one. Shopping, yeah. Controlling yourself. Don't impulse buy. Yeah. You've got food at home. You don't need another chocolate bar. You don't need another book. And social media, similar to YouTube, just looking at Instagram, pictures, and things like that. Okay? So, do you guys have good self-control? What's your weakness? Is it shopping? Is it food? Or is it social media? Let's have a look at the comments. That's right, very good. And then Zia, no, really, because I can control myself when I don't need them. Ah, yeah, good. Not when it comes to food, Sarah. Yeah, food is a lot of people's weakness, yeah. For me, I think it's probably like sweet drinks, like a nice cafe latte, or maybe um, what do you call it? Yeah, I think it's a lot of like sweet drinks. Like I had a really nice sweet potato drink earlier today, and oh, I want to buy another one. I want to go outside and just quickly buy one, but no, no. And then self control is the quiet strength that keeps you from choosing what hurts you. Wow, that's a very beautiful way of saying it. Very good. I say this always. Do I need this? If not, don't buy. That's true. But at the same time, it's good to treat yourself sometimes, right? Sometimes you need to buy things that make you happy. Because if we only buy the things that we 100% need, I don't know if you can be truly happy, right? Sometimes the things we need are the things that just make us happy, right? But it's important. Self control, definitely. Boba tea, very nice, Pink Mus. Oh, I haven't had bubble tea in a long time. And Yulia says social media, very good. So yeah, social media is tough. Oh, but anyway. Okay, so let's move on. I think maybe the final section. What's this? Can anyone tell me? What do you see on the right here? I'll zoom in a little bit. Very good. So Mary says maps. That's a great answer. And Zia says road to home. Do you live in this place? So this is a shopping mall, or it's the layout of a shopping mall. Yeah. So before we were talking about supermarkets and convenience stores. This time, let's level up a bit and let's go to the next level. Okay. Today, I'm going to tell you a small, short story about something that we call the Gruen transfer. The Gruen transfer is a very interesting idea that actually is kind of used in our everyday lives. Supermarkets, convenience stores, and also shopping malls. For example, look at this store. Can anyone tell me which famous... Oh, sugar. I think that was the answer. Can anyone tell me which store this is? I just realized the answer was on the right side. Can anyone tell me what store is this? What famous store? Yeah. So you can see cook shop, tableware, bedroom stuff, home organization, rugs and flooring. Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Very good, Etskol. Well done. It is IKEA indeed. I didn't see this thing here, so but we have IKEA. Okay. Now, interesting. Zia said it's more like a map showing directions than the supermarket, and that's a very good point. And actually, there is a reason why they've made it like this. Yeah. We already talked about this, but why don't they just make an easy route to the entrance? Like, just make a small entrance here. Like, it's less material, it's easier for everybody. Why don't you just add a few doors? Right? It's just easier. But this is by design. They want to make you walk around more. Yeah, to spend more time, to look at more things, and just make you take your time. Okay? But where did this idea come from? Well, there's a fascinating story. And it comes from the person who invented one of the first or major shopping malls in the US, and some people call him the most famous or the most influential architect of America in the 1900s. His name is Victor Gruen. Victor Gruen was an Austrian architect who is often called the pioneer of the modern shopping mall, the pioneer, the first person to do it. He designed the first fully enclosed, climate-controlled shopping center in the United States. He created the Northland Mall. You can see the huge shopping center right in the middle, and you can see hundreds of cars. Yeah. America has a lot of space, so the scale of all of their things are like 2 times, 3 times bigger than things in our countries. He didn't just create the Northland Mall. He also contributed and designed all of these different malls from 1950s to the 1970s. Now, interestingly, when he moved to America and became an American citizen, he changed his name from Grunbaum to Gruen, which means green in German, to represent his dream. He really wanted shopping malls to be more than just a shopping center full of luxurious products where people spend lots of money. Yeah. Nowadays, a lot of people go to these places and it's always about money. Right? Christmas, Valentine's Day, it's always these stores are thinking about how can we get more and more money. But Gruen wanted to make something a bit more special. He wanted to make a place for the people, right? He dreamed of creating large community spaces where people could gather, shop, and relax. He imagined the mall as a new town centre, a block of apartments, offices, a park, and schools that would be a lively new area full of nature where people can escape to. They were supposed to be a change of pace compared to America's boring, grey urban cities. These shopping malls were going to be a new paradise, right? These are not AI photos, or at least I don't think they are. These are real neighborhoods. Don't you think it looks a bit dry, a bit boring? Everything's the same, right? Now, although he had great success with the Northland Mall, his dream to make malls a more communal, family-friendly space never completely came true. American malls continued to be incredibly commercialized, meaning designed to make money. Unfortunately, this was because the companies, the higher executives who funded these huge projects, they gave him the money to design the malls. They were more interested in something else. According to Gruen, these people just want more money. They completely ignored any facilities that didn't improve sales. Instead of the libraries, parks, and doctors' offices he suggested, they used the space for more parking areas, because more parking means more customers, and more customers means more money. In a speech in London in 1978, he said he was incredibly disappointed in what shopping malls became, as developers and retailers took his designs and removed the community-focused parts, leaving only the commercialized aspects. Aspects and parts meaning the same thing. The greedy businessmen were only interested in one thing: the Gruen transfer. Now, what is the Gruen transfer. It's a psychological effect where, when shopping, people become confused and distracted by the variety of stimulating things that they forget about their original goal. Yeah? How many times have you gone to a shopping mall or maybe gone to any supermarket, and you go there to buy one thing, maybe milk, I don't know, vegetables, something, and then you see something like a discount on fish, or you see some new limited edition products, like a new flavor of like coffee or maybe potato chips, and then after, even if you don't buy that thing, after you think, what was I buying again? Oh, what did I need? Like, that's why we have shopping lists, right? Now, one big tip, if you don't have a lot of self-control when going shopping, it's always good to write shopping lists, not just because it helps you remember what you need to buy, but also it just makes things simpler, because it's like, if you have 4 items, you just think, okay, buy, cross, finished, go home, right? It just removes the distractions, and it just makes things simple. Because when humans are confused, we make bad decisions, we forget things, and then we spend more money. Yeah. So, that is the Gruen transfer. And many of these big companies used the design of Mr. Victor Gruen and took advantage of this to make more money. Okay? As you saw, something like this. People impulse buying a lot of things. Yeah? Unfortunately, in the end, in 1968, Gruen decided to return to his home in Vienna, Austria. He passed away on February 14th, 1980. And that is the story of the Gruen transfer. And that is where the design, and that's why many of these stores are designed to kind of get your attention, or rather distract you, so they can get more money from you. Okay? So, I thought that was fascinating. It is a very sad story because, of course, Gruen, he had a great dream, and he wanted to kind of create a really special place for people. But unfortunately, companies, huge corporations that have all of the money, they have the power. They have the power to control everything, and Gruen, he's just one man. He can't compete with these huge corporations, and if they didn't fund the project, they are the ones spending the money to build the mall. So of course Gruen can't just, do what he wants. He can only have so much control. There you go. Okay. Right. So let me read a few of the comments. Any questions? Shopping mall map, IKEA furniture, yes. And then, he was a very interesting person. But very good. Okay. Right. So I think we're almost finished. I think that's pretty much it. Just a few more things. Now, actually, there was one thing I wanted to share as well, and somebody actually already talked about this. But there's one more small technique or trick that they kind of use to kind of make you spend more money, and this is related to this image. Now, if you've ever been to a supermarket, there's often the chocolate section. Now, I want you to pay attention, looking at the top and the bottom shelves. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit. Actually, let me go to this part. If we look here and here, do you notice anything interesting about the designs or the types of chocolate? Up here, it's hard to see, but it's a lot more dark chocolate, milk chocolate, and the designs look a bit more, how do I say, elegant, a bit simple. But down here, we have these big texts, we have this like chocolate mushroom looking thing, a lot more creative, big fonts and things like that. Yeah. Now, I think Zia has already caught on. This is related to what we call the field of view. Yeah. Field of view is basically, sorry, I keep changing the screens, but field of view is basically what we can see without moving our head, right? So, unlike, I think, owls, some animals have very big eyes compared to like the size of their face and things like that. I think owls and like maybe cats, I'm not sure, they have really big field of views, right? They are very good at kind of detecting and looking for, you know, animals like mice and things like that. Humans, though, we have a very limited field of view. So, when driving, it's very important to think about things like blind spots, the parts in our field of view that we can't see, that are blocked by something, right? Maybe a part of the car, the windshield and things like that, yeah? So, when it comes to shopping, it's important to remember that children have a very different field of view to adults, okay? And of course, our height is also very different. So as a result, children are going to see these colorful, you know, cookies, snacks, these mushroom-looking things, yeah? But adults are going to naturally see these darker chocolates, these higher quality or a bit more expensive chocolates, right? And this is not just a coincidence, it is by design. These people, the people who design the supermarkets, and actually, an interesting thing is, I don't know if this is true, this is what I read on the internet, so take it with a grain of salt, but according to what I read, actually, the companies that want to sell their products, they have to pay more or less money, depending on the shelf, right? So basically, for most adults of an average height, most adults will be around this tall, or rather their field of view will be somewhere between here and here, okay? Again, most children will be somewhere around here and here. So anything outside, anything higher or lower or in between is going to be seen less, right? Naturally, when adults or children look around, they will see what we call these like premium shelf or something. And actually, companies have to pay more money to the supermarkets to have them put their products on this premium shelf. Because of course, if they see the product more, there's a higher chance that they will buy it, right? And so the supermarkets say, well, of course, if we're going to, you know, help you make more money, you're gonna have to pay us more as well, okay? That's what I heard, but it makes sense, right? So pretty interesting, but okay. Right, so in other words, let's try again. So again, same activity, different sentence. Separate lines. Okay, so can you rearrange this and make the sentence? I will give you 5 to 10 seconds. we okay? So I'll give you a clue. The first word in the sentence is products. Products. Okay. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Products for children are placed on the lower shelves, but can you complete the sentence? Looking at this, yeah. So products for children are placed on lower shelves, but products for adults, products for adults are placed on the higher shelves. Okay, so that's what's happening here. All right. Very good. Well done, Zia. And nice. Good job, Pink Musk and Momo. Okay. Right. So I was going to do another activity, but I don't think we have time for today, unfortunately. So let's do one final thing. Let's do a quick gap fill. Now, actually, we didn't talk about FOMO. So we'll have to kind of skip this part. I apologize, I've been skipping a lot, I know, but I've got to get up early tomorrow. So, you know what to do. Read the sentences and fill the gaps. Okay, so for example, shopping today has become more complex than ever. Many people experience, I'll do the first one for you, FOMO when when they see friends showing off their new clothes or gadgets online. Okay, now I will quickly show you what FOMO is. FOMO is basically the fear of missing out. It's a worried feeling that you get. You might miss a great opportunity, often caused by social media. Often these social media things, they will say like, only this week, you know, buy one get one free pizza, or like something like this, one day only, all of these things. This is the FOMO, or fear of missing out. Okay, so shopping today has become more complex than ever. Many people experience FOMO when they see friends showing off their new clothes or gadgets online. This pressure often leads them to make an something. Okay, so I'm going to give you maybe 5 minutes, maybe 5 minutes to finish the gap fill. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go to the toilet. Sorry, the washroom, the loo, and I'll be right back. So do your best. I apologize, I can't make the screen any bigger. If it's too small, it might be good to go to the YouTube side where you can full screen. Okay, how are we doing? Okay, are we all almost ready? Oh, Tommy, you can't copy the URL. I think if you should be able to tap it, right? Or yeah, I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah, I think you might have to click and choose copy. Sorry, I can't help you. Okay. Right, I'll give you 1 more minute just to finish off. Are we all ready? Okay, it looks like everybody's got most of their answers. So let's have a look together. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, let's read it together. Okay, so, wait. Video unavailable? Sorry, 1 second. Oh no, it is working. Okay, sorry. So, shopping today has become more complex than ever. Many people experience FOMO when they see friends showing off their new clothes or gadgets online. This pressure often leads them to make an impulse buy, buying something they don't really need just to feel included. At the same time, stores are becoming increasingly commercialized, especially around holidays. Every corner is filled with advertisements encouraging people to spend more. Sometimes it's nice to have a change of pace and visit a quiet local shop instead of a crowded mall. However, even there, prices can be surprising. Some products have such a high markup that they cost double their usual value. Paying that much can feel like a total rip-off. And if something popular is on sale, it can sell out within minutes, making customers even more desperate to grab one. Interestingly, studies show a positive correlation between how much people shop online and how often they use social media. So, you need to remember that social media can be fun in small amounts, but can often make you waste not just time, but money too. Of course, not everything we buy is unnecessary. Items like soap, rice, and toothpaste are daily necessities that everyone needs to purchase regularly. On the other hand, carbonated drinks like soda are less essential. That's why self control is important when shopping, so we can tell the difference between what we truly need and what advertisements make us want. Okay? So, how did you guys do? Did you do well? Yeah, did you get most of the answers right? I think there were maybe two phrases that we didn't talk about so deeply. I didn't really teach it to you. So don't worry if you didn't get everything. Okay? But we will end it there. I think. Is there anything else? Let's have a look. I think. No, that's about it. So, thank you very much for joining today's live stream. I think I'm quite hungry. Maybe I should go to the convenience store. Oh, but that's risky. If I go to the convenience store now, I'm probably going to buy like 5 cup ramens and maybe like a cake, maybe some potato chips, maybe for dinner. Oh my gosh. For dinner, I'm just going to have my favorite thing. I'm going to have Nori Shio crisps. Because I feel like if I go to the convenience store now, I'm going to buy too much. I do not have self-control. I'm going to have so many impulse buys. I don't trust myself. So I will have to think about what to have for dinner. Maybe I have a banana in the in the kitchen. But yeah, okay. Um, so I think we'll end it there. Are there any final questions before we finish for today. I think next week, I don't know if I will stream next week because I have a lot of what was it, extra things to do. I need to start preparing for the Christmas lessons and things like that. But we're getting close to the end of the year. That's crazy, isn't it? Wow, it's already nearly December. But I have some special surprises, some special lessons and live streams prepared. Not prepared, I'm going to prepare for the end of the year. So we can look forward to that. I think, of course, during the New Year's, I will be busy because I will actually be visiting home. I will be going back to the UK for 2 weeks around Christmas, New Year's time. So I won't be able to live stream then. But before that, we'll have maybe like a Christmas live stream. Maybe we'll do like a New Year's live stream as well before New Year's. A bit strange, I know, but yeah, but apart from that, I will keep you guys updated, and then I will also tell you about my plans for next year and the live streams and the lesson schedule, okay? Because as I said before, in the last live stream, things are gonna change a little bit, just because it takes a lot of time to do these live streams, and yeah, I need to find out the best work-life balance for me, okay? But yeah, I hope you guys, what was it? I hope you guys enjoyed everything. I hope you learned a few new words. Do you guys have any more questions? Yeah, markup is a new word, great. It's not a recorded session. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the Gruen story meal. When is the next lesson? Probably in 2 weeks, not next week, because I have some things I need to do. But if I do live stream next week, I will post on my moments as usual. Okay? But no, thank you very much, Pink Mask. I'm glad you enjoyed it. But yeah. Okay, but thank you very much. If you guys missed maybe the earlier parts of this live stream, you can find it on my YouTube channel. When I end the stream, you can find the recording in the live section, okay? But apart from that, have a wonderful evening. Enjoy your dinner, or maybe you were eating dinner during the lesson, I don't know. But yeah, have a nice weekend. I hope you have some nice weather and go outside, yeah? Don't buy too much, okay? Have some self-control. Don't, look at too much social media. Go outside, enjoy the sun, if it's sunny. And thank you very much, as always, for joining today. Thank you for, all the comments and the discussion. It's always more fun with you guys, so yeah, okay? All right. What was that? Okay, so I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much, and bye for now. See you guys. Thank you. Okay. Right. Thanks on the YouTube side. See you guys soon. Bye.